Imagine making a difficulty chart spinoff 4 years ago and thought to yourself, hey, this is the shit. I can't top this. Well, after those 4 years passed by, I picked up quite a bit of stuff, so I came back for round two. For the sake of comparison and also to hold my audience hostage for longer, I'm going to show the entirety of the old tower before showing the revamp. So, here's Tower of Perplexity Tabulation. So I'm actually voicing this as the video plays, just because I'm kind of too lazy to, articulate all these sentences, just the general dialogue for it. So I figured live commentary would be better. So, yeah, this tower's old as hell. I actually built it in 3 days, around, I would say, mid 2021. And at the time, I was pretty proud of it, but, as time went on and I got better at building, I started to see more flaws in it. For a while, I actually did want to revamp it, but I never ended up doing so. So that's why I did it this month. And in my old video, dude, I can't believe I used to glaze this tower endlessly. It was just awarding myself. I don't know why I did so. But the earlier floors aren't too long because I did kind of rely on big structures and stuff to kind of fill up the floors. All the gameplay is pretty small, you can kind of see here, and there is a lot of filler client objects. Like, I don't think these things were even used consistently aside from, I want to say, spinners. There used to be way more spinners featured in the tower. However, people did complain about it, so I got rid of a lot of them. But you will notice spots, maybe, if you've got a sharp eye. Like, this area here used to have a spinner, but I got rid of it. And also, a lot of the spinners in this tower are actually three-sided. But yeah, we are already almost done with the floor. As I said, the floors on this, at least the beginner floors, are really short. I actually did have a filler part here, but I got rid of it. It was for ATOS, but eventually the part ended up being deleted. I still maintain the original structuring in the revamp because I still think it was pretty nice, just wasn't done super well. I tried to keep an identical layout, which you'll notice when you see the revamp, and then I had a little blunder there. I do think that spinner's cool, and this part here is cool where you go to a button and you have to survive a kill brick for 3 seconds. I think that was still a kind of a neat idea, even though it's probably not the most special thing. I do think a lot of the small things in the tower do add up with each other. Even though this is it's I don't know, it's old as hell. It's unpolished, it's cramped, there's a lot of weird things about it. But in a way it still does have its charm. I mean, I do love the soundtrack for one, and the granite decoration was actually really appealing, even though again there were better ways to do it. So now we're on floor 4, which is difficult. And for this part, for one section of this floor that I'm about to go to, it's a giant cylinder section. I inspired off it from my old difficulty chart tower. This section here, it's a survival section, and I decided it would be a neat little tribute since earlier that year I did try making a difficulty chart obby when those were still prevalent, but I never ended up finishing it. Then I fumbled the walk around there, even though you kind of treat that as a wrap. Oh yeah, there are actually quite a bit of skips in here as well, which shorten this hour's length from however many minutes to twice as short. I believe this recording is 12 minutes, I forgot, but yeah, the quickest time for this hour is around 5 or 6 minutes or so. I've tested it myself in the past. Maybe it could be more optimized, but that is what you can achieve with the current skips in this. And this is another part from my difficulty chart tower. It's so random and so out of place. I don't get why I did that part at all. And now we're on floor 5. This floor used to be way harder and also used to have filler kill brick spinners, but I got rid of it. I actually built this floor when staying up really late because I wanted to get this tower done. And at that time, when I was building this floor, my friend and I just found it really funny how TODC Floor 5 looked. The revamp that's in JTO. We just thought it was really funny because, you know, it was made by a bunch of builders, so having a floor as empty as that was really hilarious at the time. However, in the update, it's pretty good now. Yeah, we're already at the end of the floor here. And then you have a random cannon that's coming up that has no place at all. I don't know why it's there. And now we're on Intense, where it gets all dark and yeah, it's just dark. And also, this floor is a huge spike. And also, people don't like this floor, nor do I. It's unnecessarily long for what it is. Although there is, although there is button progress, I guess. That's really all I can say about it. There are also skips on this floor that make it way shorter as well, but the skips in this tower, and I was being stupid there. The skips in this tower are more so just cheap. They're random parts that allow you to jump on top of structures and stuff, and I guess they do save a lot of time, but they were kind of cheap. Then again, the only reason I put them in was because the J2 review told me to. Oh yeah, I don't think anyone really knows or remembers, but I did submit this to J2, and crediting a verified builder is a joke. I actually don't know why I did. I don't think I even. I don't think I needed to, but for some reason I did. It actually ended up passing the review and getting into the whitelist. However, I ended up removing it after a while because people were just kind of dogging on this tower. But honestly, I couldn't blame them. I made this in 3 days. It just was. I set up for failure when I submitted it there. So it was eradicated from the whitelist, and this tower found its home in Ring 8 of Atos. These challenges are a one-time thing, and they're all like just a few jumps each, but they still, I don't think they should be there because there's nothing that special about them. Now we're on floor 7, Remorseless. The floor that used to have a kill break every 2 jumps and was insanely annoying for no reason at all. But we nerfed it heavily because this floor at the time was probably one of the harder floors. I don't think it was too far off from insane and extreme. That cylinder that I stood on there, you can see that used to be a ladder. So this floor used to be a ton harder than it used to be. This used to be a 1.5 stud gap, actually. And there were just so many kill bricks around. Like, most of the time, you were just low on health. You were about to die. Oh, I remember when I submitted this JTO, I actually credited a verified builder. I think it was Friend, because those elevators had a custom effect. They change color when you touch them. That's the only reason I needed a verified builder credited. That's the only thing in the tower that's a custom client object. Which I don't quite know why. I guess the heal pad's there too, but I don't think they're really that important of a matter. Anyways, we're on floor 8. This floor also used to be a lot more difficult, but it was also eventually nerfed, especially with button progress, because now you notice there was a bunch of platforms down there. This floor is also really dark. I don't know, blue is just kind of dark in general. It's kind of a dark color, kind of hard to get a good environment with it fully lit up and all that without making it look too saturated, not flat, etc. So yeah, we're done with the insane part of this now. We're on extreme. These floors aren't super long, as you can see. This tower, in general, is a lot shorter than the revamp. I guess that's no surprise because we did rush it. You can see me pulling out the lantern quite a bit here, just so you guys can actually see where I'm going here. Even though you probably can't tell what's going on still. And here we have the world's slowest spinning elevator. I have no clue why I made this so slow. I don't know why it's spinning either. I don't think anything about it is even that cool. And then, bam, you hit a button. And that's all. So that was a small crossover to Insane. Now we're doing Extreme's final jumps before we hit floor 9 of Tower of Perplexity Tabulation. And here we go. So we have a corny sign there. and the beginning of the giant cylindrical structure, which does have a little bit of detail. It does look alright, but I think I put too much detail into it, and I kind of fumbled there. You actually walk on the structure here before going to a conveyor to a truss, and then a bunch of truss gameplay because this floor was actually partially truss based, which is more of a homage to difficulty chart revamp. Just a neat little detail. I wanted to mention that while I don't think you can really see it most times, there actually is the galactic alphabet on each side of the floor that spells out DC on this floor. We have this filler part here. I don't know why this was made, but it was pretty random. And it's also just pretty awkward, as you can imagine. It lasts for like 4 jumps. The longest part there is just waiting for the platform to go back so you can safely land the next wrap. And now you're off that part. It was really random. And after this flat side hell of a jump, we're going to see the Toam jump, which I want to mention ahead of time I did not put in the revamp. And now we're on the final floor. This floor was made in 2 hours and was actually one of the first floors finished for this tower because I originally wanted to do the soul crushing floors for this tower, but then I decided to finish off the what was it? Actually, I can't remember if I ignore me being an idiot here. I was pretty tired and I still am. I'm running off no sleep. And I just kind of gave up with the lagging here. But I actually can't remember if this was the first finished floor or not. Either way, I made it in 2 hours, and it was probably, I want to say, like, catastrophic unnerfed, which, I mean, no kidding, but, I mean, like, raw. So you would see a floor of that difficulty only in, like, a much harder tower, like a horrific or whatever, or an unreal. So this was substantially nerfed to the ground, as you can probably tell. This used to be 3 studs, but I changed that because who really wants a 3 stud walk around in a tower? And here's the end here. And I said that twice. So this is the last jump, which is also a reference to difficulty chart. It's just a long jump to a wind pad. It's a lot longer this time, but honestly, it's pretty easy to land. But yeah, generally that's Perplexity Tabulation. While it is old, in a way it still has its charm, but for a while I thought that I could do better, and I am now going to be showing you TOAT. And here we are with Tower of Adversity Tabulation. The reason I didn't keep the name is because it had to be renamed for the Eternal Abyss, so Adversity Tabulation is the new name for it. This was finished recently, as I mentioned before, and it's honestly a lot better than the old tower, obviously. Let's get into it. I did keep a lot of the original progression for this tower for the floors that I built, so I'll specify which floors were built by who. So my friend made this one. I added skip routes for this tower, or, well, shortcuts that are harder to pull off in trade for making the tower much shorter. A lot of more client objects were used this time around, which feature spinners, teleporters, conveyors, falling platforms, buttons, and, well, so on. Just to keep the gameplay fresh, we cycled around a lot of these client objects, as you'll see here and there. And also the visuals do look a decent bit better. Falling platforms actually have, like, 3 variants. That's one of them. Basically, you're going to have to get down to a button and it's going to take you back up. And then you have to backtrack or do some new gameplay. We're already on floor 2, which is my first built floor in this tower. And honestly, it's pretty neat. I did have a bit of trouble making this floor at first because I wanted to follow a style that wasn't basic. With how a lot of easy towers I feel like are following nowadays, I wanted to introduce things in the easy floors that were, they're not hard to pull off for beginner players, but it also keeps the floor fresh. So that trust glide thing, it wouldn't normally be used because you have shift lock, and a lot of beginner players don't know about shift lock. And this is also another usage of the falling platform, where you go down and get a button, which is pretty neat, honestly. I think it makes for some nice progression. But yeah, I think the progression for this, and just generally the way everything is structured and executed, makes up for it just makes up for the easier difficulty. Also, this floor in specific is really loud. I don't know why, but I'm probably gonna edit the footage to just make it quieter because it should not be that loud. You'll see that a lot of it is just kind of the same. How can I say it? Same route of progression. Like here, you get a button, but it's doing some cool thing with the falling platform stuff instead of just a basic kill brick survival challenge. I've had to change that like 3 times, by the way, because it just wasn't clear to people on what to do there. And I didn't do the push box thing here because honestly, that was kind of lame. It just kind of ruined flow a little bit. So, and that's the falling platform that you kind of want to treat like a regular one where it would disappear. Those buttons you're not meant to hit. This is an original gameplay here because I do think these floors could have been a lot longer. Not a lot, but just a decent bit longer so they stick by you more. So that little part there I built. And now we're on floor 4. Floor 4, I tried to make things a bit more interesting here by having a central spinner that you pretty much traverse, though it's in the least basic way ever. And we have this cool button here that speeds up the spinner whenever you're pressing it, just so you don't have to wait so long. Because the spinner moves pretty slow. I really liked the progression of this floor and how I executed it. I think it was nicely done. It turned the floor of the old one from something that was just not that good to something that was really interesting. The structuring of this floor is also nice too. It's up against some bigger pieces of terrain below nets, and that's the button you have to get. So now you never have to play that part again. You can just go straight there. That's one of the only instances of button progress in the tower. And here was also just more so original gameplay because I didn't really have. There wasn't really any creative liberty to work off of from the original, so we just did our own thing. However, I did keep the button here where you go backwards because that's nice. And instead of doing a filler balloon challenge like on the old one, I just did a basic button hunt thing, except it's kind of blatantly obvious where the buttons are. Except one here that's just hidden because I thought it'd be cool. And after that, arrows show where to go, and we're going to find ourselves on the 5th floor. Challenging. Remember what I said about the kill brick spinners? I added them back here, except I made them more cool and stuff for atmosphere. For this floor, instead of having to dodge buttons for one section, you're going to have to dodge them for the entire floor. I thought it'd be neat. You will have to go back to the start of the floor if you do happen to touch a button, which considering how many progress lost bricks there are around, it's not a hard task. I actually added a triple spike here just because I thought it would be funny and just random. I don't know. I was kind of just letting my mind flow when building this, which I believe should be the way to build. If you want to be comfortable, at least. You'll see that these kill brick spinners are still really useless and don't really damage you. They're also the one of the only spots in the tower where you can take damage because every kill brick is a progress loss brick. I also tried to use spinners a little bit more often, even if they were, not really that cool with their usage. And here's a random part that I wanted to put here, just so there was something, because I wanted the floor to feel like it has a little bit more of an identity. And now we find ourselves on the dark floor, floor 6, intense. Except this time, it's not dark from a lighting changer, it's kind of the same thing. This floor was reworked entirely from the ground up instead of maintaining the original progression that the old floor had. Because let's be honest, who really liked floor 6 of Perplexity Tabulation? So, oh yeah, I forgot to specify, my friend made this floor, and I made all the previous floors you saw except from Easy. I do think our styles do kind of manage to stand out at the same time while kind of working off each other. As you can see, a lot of the structures they kind of build off each other. That's what I think is so nice about this tower. It blends in more well than Perplexity Tabulation did. And everyone calls these the Umbral Market Spinners, which I guess I understand. Like old floor 6, this floor is also a tiny bit long, but not super long. It's kind of average amongst the other floors because this tower, on average, is a lot longer than the old version. Like now we're at the end here. And we're on Remorseless, which has actually received a new song. 7 to 10 have entirely different songs from the original, in interest of having less, I want to say, I wouldn't really say generic songs, because we kept DM Dakota songs for 8 and 9, because I had my friend choose them. They do fit, though. I think they're nice. But this floor, I chose a Black Y song, because floor 8 of TOPT used a Black Y song, and it was really nice. So I went for a similar vibe here with the old song. And I kind of just lose my brain here. I don't know what the hell I was doing. So you can just disregard that. This floor did take a little while to build because I was still trying to adapt to building a little bit harder gameplay. As you can tell, I am not entirely used to making soul-crushing gameplay. Or not soul-crushing, non-soul-crushing gameplay, sorry. And I fumbled here too. But I'm not entirely used to making non-SE gameplay, so I was trying to kind of mix and match here, see what was good, what was bad. But I did actually have to nerf this tower. This tower and this floor a little bit, which I'm not surprised because can you really expect me to build accurately when I've built soul-crushing gameplay nearly all of my tower career? I mean, for Christ's sake, my second finished tower was a soul-crushing tower, and my third finished tower was Perplexity Tabulation, so what could you really expect? I've never been in the field a lot, so I couldn't be expected to make good non-SE gameplay, but I did try my best. So we're on floor 8 now, pretty much. Hitting insane right here. So this floor, I'm pretty sure is the longest floor, and also has a really loud song, which I have to turn down on the editor. But since this floor is pretty much 2 difficulties, but my friend made it a little bit longer overall. And I was just losing my mind here. I do not know what I was doing. I should have just made cuts or whatever. But, it's whatever. It happens. And I forgot I changed this part here. That's why you see me turning. This floor and alongside with floor 9 were changed quite a bit because there were just a few weird things with this. Some of the most notable things being that the gameplay was awkward and that the gameplay was overall pretty cramped and unindicated, which, no surprise, I didn't really add any until after it was done. But these floors are a lot better to play through. Though I think you should note that what you see here, I am probably going to make changes here and there depending on what feedback I get. So you're probably going to see some differences between the video here and the actual place itself. So this is not the super final product. I should also mention I forgot a few things to do here. Just overall through the tower. For example, floor 9 doesn't have lights because I just completely forgot to add those. There were so many small things to do, it was kind of hard to keep track. But they are in the place now, which you can check out. I redid that part entirely because it was just a little bit weird to actually use a progress loss teleporter for indication. I don't know why there was a random wall there, I'm gonna be honest with you. Oh yeah, I forgot to change it, that's why. That's another thing I gotta fix. You actually cross back to Insane here like you do in the old version, except this time there is no random stupid elevator, this is just the backtracking section here. Which you can tell is the primary theme of this floor, and I guess this tower in general. And that jump has to be nerfed because that one was just insanely long. We're now seeing the end of this floor, which puts us into Terrifying and a cool song. So, if it wasn't obvious from that sign, this floor is trust based, just like old TOPT, and technically just like old TODC. Again, these floors are a little bit loud, so I'm gonna try to normalize their volume. So if they're still loud in the video, I do apologize. I also threw on this rap. I don't know why. It's not really that hard. I'm just being stupid. But if people think it's hard, I'm gonna end up nerfing it. There's still. I feel like there's still a few things to change. I just need people to kind of tell me because I'm not the best with balancing. So that's why I try to get as many people as possible to help me with making difficulty changes and whatnot. With this floor, its progression is also very, very different here compared to old floor 9. Which I guess it was really necessary because these floors do have to be longer. And also, I wanted to mention that I'm stupid there, and also these these floors do try to be a bit more accurate with their difficulty compared to the old TOPT. Because old TOPT kind of just felt like it was a smaller range. Like, it felt like someone mentioned to me that it just felt like not like a difficulty chart tower. It only went from challenging to extreme, which I do really agree. So the difficulty range here is a lot more different, and I hope it's more accurate. Although the gameplay is more complex, you can see, across all the floors pretty much. So I do think it might be a little bit harder than their intended difficulty. But I'm not trying to be accurate in terms of raw gameplay, just in general. Like, this floor is what you would see in a terrifying tower. Now we find ourselves on Catastrophic, the final floor. And it's awesome. It's really quite awesome. I think this is the last floor I've made, because I built it in order this time. So my friend made 8 to 9, and I made floor 10. So that's the full layout. This floor it was absurdly hard, and I was being dumb here once again. So this floor used to be absurdly hard, like way harder than it looks right now, because I wanted to add camera control. Like, I wanted to make the gameplay kind of similar to Cataclysmic Layers in terms of difficulty, except, you know, actually catastrophic in people's eyes. Also, muscle memory got me screwed up there. I also just pretty much redid this floor because the old one really, really sucked. And it's also a lot longer. I think it might be one of the longest floors in here, but I'm not sure. Floor 8 is definitely the longest, though. I'll say that. I also chose Nuclear Fusion in light of my song choice from my old DCO, the same one that I inspired for Floor 4. I chose Nuclear Fusion because Catastrophic in that DCO used it. Oh yeah, and let me mention, the Galactic Alphabet in old Floor 9, I actually put it into here, as well as the cool symbol on the side on Floor 10. I really did try to stretch out this floor because it's a finale floor, so I really think it shouldn't be short. Old floor 10 was kind of like a minute long, and I actually have the TODC wall hops here, and I thought I failed here, so I no clipped. But yeah, we're pretty much near the end here after this really evil jump and these thin studs that I still need to indicate, but I just don't know how to, so I just haven't done anything for that yet. And we're at the last jumps. It's all dark, and the last jump is actually in front of the frame instead of at the back with a skill check. And another one. And a way, way longer jump compared to old TUPT because I felt evil. You don't have to stick the landing. But yeah, that's all of adversity tabulation. I would say this tower in total maybe took 2 weeks of total development time. I had to set this aside to finish the story night lobby, which I also have to showcase when it releases next year. And also the 100-hour time lapse for it, but yeah. Overall, I'm pretty happy with this tower. I'm not gonna glaze myself for any of that. I'm way past that. I'm not you know, young anymore. I'm insanely proud of this. I just think it's a nice reiteration of TOPT without going super far from it while at the same time doing its own thing entirely. I think it has a nice identity. It it kind of just cycles around the CEOs a lot better than Perplexity Tabulation could ever do. And personally, I'm just happy to be building something with my friend again because it's been a while. I think TOPT was one of the last things we built together. So it was fun to just work on this after wanting to for years on end. I do hope to be able to build more things like this, just where I can just sit back and have fun building because, not having to worry about making a tower the best it can be, just even though it kind of seems like otherwise here with what I'm doing. It's fun. It really is fun. And having built easier gameplay for the first time in a while, it was a bit rough to adapt to, I will admit, but I would say I did a damn bit of a better job than Perplexity Tabulation. I mean, really, I used to have a lot of pride over that tower, but truly I've come so far since, and I think this is pretty solid evidence of that. So that's pretty much it for the tower. Hopefully you guys enjoyed the premiere, and I hope to see you sometime soon, whether it's in a lobby showcase video or a tower showcase like this one. I had a lot of fun doing the live commentary for this, so if you guys did like it, then let me know in the comments below. Because if you do like it, then I'll do more of it because really it's fun, especially with this new microphone. It's a lot better than my old crappy one that I used to record videos with. It's a lot more competent, so yeah. And I'll see you guys next time.